Mary Kay, why does Shedeur Sanders get so much coverage?
Just like back when Johnny Manziel got so much coverage.
Baker Mayfield calls her out clickbait. You and many other Cleveland local media continue to be drama-stirring reporters with no sources or facts. Mary Kay Cabot. I don't call many people haters. I don't think that's fair. I don't think Tony Grossi is a hater. I think sometimes he's a little biased, but everybody can be biased. Mary Kay, on the other hand, she has a vendetta against players. And it's not just Shedeur, it's a history of what she's been doing. But more recently, I'm on a live stream. She just published this podcast. Apparently, she finally gets to talk about Shedeur because she made 1,000 posts about his ticket. She's been hounding him and posting him every single time she gets a chance. So let's check to see what Mary Kay has to say about Shedeur.
Now all of a sudden he's basically back playing right tackle. I don't know. It feels like there has to be some kind of difference there in a righty versus a lefty, and maybe it's not like earth-shattering, but it is interesting. So let's talk about the other rookie quarterback, and this question comes from Rick LaPlaglia in Clifton Springs, New York, and it's kind of a question about coverage of the Browns and a lot about Shedeur Sanders, and what it kind of comes down to is kind of being tired of hearing about a fifth-round pick so much. So Rick compliments the work we've done and says that we've done a good job on Orange and Brown Talk of making sure we cover the whole team, but it is obviously Shedeur Sanders heavy, so I'll just paraphrase this. Hey, Mary Kay, why does Shedeur Sanders get so much coverage?
Well, because he is famous, basically, and it's just like back when Johnny Manziel got so much coverage, and why Baker Mayfield got so much coverage. These quarterbacks that come out of college as superstars, they already have a huge, huge fan base. They have a loyal national following, and they move the needle nationally. And at this time of year, ESPN and the national media, they need something to hang their hat on a little bit. They need the content. Everybody needs the content, and that's what
Mary Kay. Look, Mary Kay's not wrong. Wrong messenger, because we're about to get on you. We're about to show you how many. Clearly, Mary Kay fits the bill of needing the content. Oh, but Tings, don't you post a bunch of Shedeur content? Yeah, I need the content too. I told y'all to comment some other content. Y'all don't comment it. I'll be making other videos. Y'all don't watch them. But no. But hey, get your money, get your paper. But to come out and say, oh, well, people need clicks. Clearly, you need clicks too.
Is happening. I've had people actually say to me, oh no, my place wants Shedeur. I mean, we're hearing that from people that are covering this whole entire situation. We've never had really anybody say that to us. Oh, give us as much Shedeur as you possibly can. I think it's almost been the opposite. We're like, hey, let's not go too crazy here and make sure we're covering everything. But that's just the way that it is. When you've got a hot topic that moves the needle, especially a hot topic who is speeding around Cleveland a little bit, you're going to get plenty of coverage.
Yeah, and I think I understand.
And y'all know I already made I made like a stream about it. I made a small video about the ticket thing. I told y'all that it's only fair that Shedeur he's going to get the jokes and people are going to make fun. They're going to get their clicks off about this. That is his punishment. It's not to get cut. It's not to say that he's a terrible person because he's speeding and he had 2 speeding tickets. No, his punishment for Shedeur is, hey, Mary Kay, you get that. That one's fair. That one's fair, Mary Kay. But you get another one, we got problems.
It's like, well, he's a 5th-round pick and he's the 4th-string quarterback and all of this. And all of that is true. And in a normal situation, we probably wouldn't cover Shedeur Sanders like this. But it's not normal. This is a guy who, like you said, was super famous in college, has just an insane following that has come with him to Cleveland and is going to follow him wherever he ends up, whether it's here or if he ends up someplace else. People know Shedeur. There was a time when people thought he'd be a top 5 pick, right? Like he has been on the tip of the tongue of the NFL world for a long time here. And I think a part of it is there's so much national appeal too. Like it's not just local coverage. This isn't like Dorian Thompson-Robinson when we would cover, not that we covered him to the extent of Shedeur, but we would talk about
it. And here's my problem. Why didn't y'all cover Dorian Thompson? Because as someone who watches football, right, and knows, first off, one of my best friends is like a quarterback dude. So like he's like, dog, Dorian Thompson's gonna be that guy. I thought Dorian Thompson was gonna be that guy. He's super mobile, right? You know, he's got a rocket of an arm, a little more inconsistent, but he's an electric football player out of UCLA. Why not? Why not shove an exciting college football player? But let him keep going.
Dorian, and we talk about how he played, but that wasn't a national topic.
What's up?
I think this gets compounded because Shedeur Sanders moves the needle nationally. So you've got First Take and Get Up and whatever more, Colin Cowherd. You've got these big national shows talking about Shedeur Sanders, and I think that just makes it feel, that multiplies this feeling of like, oh my God, everybody's just talking about Shedeur, as opposed to if it were just on the local level.
Yeah, it's been so amazing to watch how the national media has weighed in from day one on Shedeur Sanders and is just hanging on every snap, every rep, every completion. And it's just so funny because from our standpoint, there have been times where he's like, we're like, well, yeah, but he was kind of over on the opposite field for a while, by himself. But that's because they have been trying to catch him up to the pre-snap pro game of all the things that you have to know and do, including all of the terminology and all that kind of stuff. So they had to get him up to speed and catch him up. He was behind. That's just the reality of the situation. That does not mean that he can't catch up and that he's not smart and that doesn't have high football acumen, because he has all those things. So he wouldn't be looking as good as he does in these practices if he wasn't figuring it out. He's studying. He's got the work ethic. But it's just so funny to watch the national media kind of go a little gaga over a 5th-round pick who I would say at this point does not have a good chance to start on opening day.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, I'm gonna let him cook because here it's gotten to the point that she has to compliment Shedeur, right? Like she has to get off. And I'll be fair, a lot of that has been fair, all right? But I think we keep skating around the fact of, look, the reason why Shedeur is popular, Shiloh is popular. I just made a Shiloh video that they're popular to their point because they're celebrities. But to act like, but why is it such a big deal? It's a big deal because the NBA paraded Shedeur around. I don't know if y'all remember, but NBA. I said the NBA. The NFL paraded Shedeur around. The NFL changed their header on Twitter and on Instagram to Shedeur Sanders pre-draft. Like y'all can't pee on us and tell us it's raining. It's not just, the national media just thought he was going to be a top 5 pick, or there's some reason. Why are people in such uproar about it? We weren't just thought that he's good. ESPN said it. NFL said it. The mock draft said it. Every single person. So when we go back and say these things, because, a lot of people get my comments again, like, oh my God, you're glazing, you're this. He's just a 5th round. He's just 6'1", all that, Dog, all that is true. But what's also true is that I wasn't the one mock drafting Shedeur Sanders top 5. I wasn't the one with all the other mock drafts that had him at worst. At the worst. We were sitting here talking about, oh my God, if he goes 2nd round, he's going to be so embarrassed. Dog, that's what the conversation was. So if you want to know why people are so enamored, is because no one had because Dylan Gabriel never got that treatment. And whether you say that, hey, NFL just, hey, they saw the clicks, they saw the money, they know what they're doing, their media, cool. Boom. Hey, that's a decent answer. But to say that, and then on top of that, Mary Kay, she continues to put that jab in. Hey, by the way, Shedeur Sanders was behind. He was behind. He was on a separate field. XYZ, he had to pick up the pro style offense. But by the way, he can do it. Like I don't understand. I don't understand what the point of that is. You wouldn't point that out unless you're trying to point out that, hey, by the way, he's not that. He's not all that. Nobody is saying he's all that. But that's where I have a problem with this. It's like, y'all are just upset that he's being talked about a lot. You could be upset about that. Okay, cool. But to say that, specifically me, y'all know how I get down. To say that I'm like overrating him, 2nd round draft pick. That's crazy. I mean, he's had a on. Don't talk to me. Look at the stats. He's had a statistically historic college football career at just the FBS level. I'm not going to talk about the FCS level since y'all don't respect HBCUs in the elite performance that he had out there in Jackson State. Since y'all just absolved that, but just talking about the Colorado level in a historic. Right? A historic franchise in which there's been historic players. He holds all the quarterback records after 2 seasons. I'm not saying that to say, oh, I'm Shedeur gang. No, I'm saying that because like I'm tired of sounding like a Glazer when we're just, people are going to be like, what happened? And nobody, and now we're in the NFL. He's in the league, and now he's doing stuff. And now y'all trying to, he's not picking up the pro style. Yeah, because he wasn't in a pro style. We just talked about you tried to Mary Kay. Remember when she lied and said, Shedeur had the same offensive coordinator. He had Pat Shurmur forever. No, he actually had to adapt. But remember when you tried to say Dylan Gabriel had different coaches and that's why he can adapt? I don't know, dog. It's just the goals be shifting, man.
I mean, I think if we're talking about coverage, I think like obviously we do talk a lot about him, but I think across the board locally, but certainly us, I think we've done a good job of like laying out this is kind of where things stand, and this is sort of what it is right now for Shedeur Sanders. And maybe some people don't want to hear that, but this is what we're seeing when we're out there at practice. And I would imagine when we show up to training camp on whatever July 22nd, first practice is probably July 23rd, which, by the way, that's a month away. It's probably going to be the same situation. I don't think we're going to see Shedeur Sanders taking first-team reps on those first days of camp. It's going to take time. So if nothing else, I think sometimes we talk about Shedeur because we want to push back on this narrative of what people who aren't there are saying versus what we're seeing every day.
Right. And then the other caveat or monkey wrench in this whole thing is the fact that there are people, and this is just the day and age that we live in now, that there are people who are writing about Shedeur and opining on how he looks when they're not really there. And that's been an interesting little phenomenon, right? That we are going up against people who are making bold, sweeping proclamations about his performance that we've never seen once before show up at practice. So
I think she makes a good point. But first, in my live chat, shout out to my man Otis for the $9.99. Really appreciate that. He says she is disingenuous, and I first off, this comment is already spot on. She is disingenuous. She would say what he was struggling with if it was what it was real. She is speculating. She's doing it because she can't control the narrative because she has too much attention. So she lies. And I'm typically someone, I don't like calling people liars or calling it XYZ, but Mary Kay, I'm sorry. Factually, you are a liar. So Otis is not out of line here. We've made a video of you telling bold-faced lies about Shedeur Sanders in his football history. And as somebody, again, if you were just a marketing and analyst type person, okay, she doesn't know the intricacies of the different offensive coordinators, cool. But the fact that you're a sports beat reporter, unless I'm mistaken, but you're a sports reporter, but you don't know that, like, why even speak about something you don't know? Why even say Shedeur Sanders has only one offensive coordinator for his whole career when it's something that you could have Googled and figured out? So everything you say, you have to understand, Mary Kay, because after Otis is a good point, and I think it's a good point, I'm about to give credit to Mary Kay because I think she's making a good point. But again, wrong messenger. I made this point about the dudes, like his name's Corey, and there's a few other people who are on Twitter, and they make like, oh, Shedeur Sanders had the greatest, he broke rookie mini camp records and all that's like that. Those are clearly trolls, and they're trolling because they think that Shedeur fans are easy to troll, XYZ. They just want to get y'all going, and basically they want to hype y'all's heads up and do that. So is there some of that? Yes. There is some of that. There is some people who literally aren't at the camp. They're just saying, oh my God, I've been to the camp. It's a joke. Like, it's a big troll that they like Shedeur and that they're Cleveland Browns fans. So to Mary Kay's point, that's true. And I've told y'all about that. But again, when it comes from Mary Kay, I don't know how you would believe it.
There's a little bit of fiction going on out there in some ways. And I've said this before, so I think you have to be just a little bit careful about the source of information and where you're getting it from. And, we're there, boots on the ground, watching it every day and trying to tell it like it is. Now, that doesn't always make us popular with some segments of, at least, with some people out there in the Shedeur Sanders world. Like, they don't want to hear some of the things that we have to say if they're not all like 100% team Shedeur. But we're trying to tell it like it is. And I think that's important. I think we have to keep it in its proper perspective, because why should anybody set Shedeur up for another fall? He's already had a fall from the potential first round in the draft to the 5th round. So let's not set him up to become the starting quarterback on day one when he has a long way to go to get to that point.
Yeah, it is funny, like just in this day and the way camp is covered, right? We're all tweeting videos, we're all sending out videos, and then what happens is one of those clips gets picked up by somebody and tweeted out. It's a 7-on-7 red zone throw with, again, this is the underwear Olympics right now in the spring. So, hey, it could be a great throw, it could be a great read, it could be all of that, but it's also just a throw in the spring. Whether it's Joe Flacco or Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel, whatever. It's these 7-on-7 plays in the spring. They get picked up, one throw gets out. It's like, oh my God, can you believe this throw from Shedeur Sanders? It's like, well, yeah, but this is also the farthest thing from real football that we're going to see. So I think that's all a part of it. Is we live in this world now where one little clip can go viral. And
now, again, while there is some truth to that, again, the disingenuous or just genuineness, I don't know how to say the y'all being disingenuous, and the reason why it comes from that, sir, which my chat has not been saying very nice things about you. I do want to say, but I like your locks. All right, you're doing a good job. I think you should keep it up. I think you're looking smooth. Okay, all right. But what I will push back on you and Mary Kay is the pendulum, right? Don't act surprised. Because I have said these same things. I have told y'all and come on here and say, hey, look, some of y'all get in my comments, and if I'm not 100% on Shedeur every single and I love him so much, it's a problem. But because I'm critical about Shedeur, I don't think that he was the greatest quarterback in this draft class. I definitely think he was at worst, a 2nd round pick. At worst, right? But to sit here and say that, oh well, he's just a 4th round pick, he's just a this, he's that. That you have to acknowledge the reason why. It's not just because he's a Sanders. Because again, Shiloh he's popular. Jimmy Horn is popular. LeJounte, they're popular. But you have to. Why is he extra popular? Why has he been galvanized? You know why. It's because everybody was looked in the face and said, y'all didn't see what y'all see. And he's actually just a 5th round talent. That's what the NFL told a bunch of people. And then on top of that, when that happened, a bunch of y'all got on Twitter. A bunch of y'all got on wherever. And y'all started trying to make justifications of, well, this is why Shedeur is bad. And this is this. So yeah, a lot of people thought Shedeur Sanders couldn't throw a football. The way y'all were talking about him. Right? So let's not do that. Let's not act surprised that people are hyping it up after y'all pushed so negative against him. Sorry about it. Here we are. But I told you I was gonna go through some history of Mary Kay. We don't have a lot of time. Because we spent some time reacting to that. Shout out to you, Mary Kay, in Cleveland online. Hey, I don't think it was actually that bad. You were doing a little bit of hating, but I get it. You're only hating to protect. We'll give her the benefit of the doubt, chat, okay? But again, I want it to be understood, right, that this is a clear pattern with Mary Kay, and no one's going to be able to take her seriously because of the way she handles things, right? Here's Mary Kay getting called out in this, January 2022. Baker Mayfield must resolve his differences with Kevin Stefanski soon in case they need to coexist next season. When she posted 18 times about it. Here's the video proof of how many times she posted about it. They screen recorded it. post, repost, Shedeur Sanders ticket, 19 hours, 15 hours, Shedeur Sanders ticket. I think this is actually her pinned tweet, but that spamming them, dog. So it's gonna be hard for me to be like, hey, you made some good points, Mary Kay. They're gonna kill you in the comments. Especially, I want to end it right here because I can't, like, how is anyone gonna think you're not biased, Mary Kay, with questions like this?
Your dad mentioned on a recent podcast that, he's still kind of going through his health challenge and that he's...
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. So I'm here not to talk about Pops and them.
Yeah.
I'm here for the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, my question was, though, if you don't mind answering this, do you kind of have to just, like you said, be where your feet are and not... I'm sure that's something that would be a worry to you if you let yourself kind of think about it here. So is that something that you're trying to just...
I'm focused. I'm focused on learning this playbook and everything I got to do to be the most successful quarterback I could be and be the best teammate I could be. Outside.
And that's it. And he handled it with grace. But I want to make sure. So as much as I don't think Mary Kay was fully hating, everything she says has to be taken with hate and with a bit of media bias or whatever bias that she's trying to get her clicks, right? So I appreciate you for trying to not set up Shedeur for failure, but understand what it means for you to be the messenger and what you've done in your past, Mary Kay, for people to feel like that. Now, I think you do very hard work. I think being a reporter is very thankless work because of the feverishness of the news. So I do have to thank you, your organization, as well as what you do, because you do offer exclusive news and updates when other people don't have anything. But when that nothing is sourced from nothing, you ain't helping nobody. So appreciate you watching. Please, if you like this video, like it. If you didn't, dislike it. Subscribe if you enjoy football content of all shapes, sizes, forms, and fashions. Be phenomenal. Continue to be great. I cannot thank y'all enough for watching. Y'all are phenomenal. Continue being awesome.